I was going to the grocery store and places I wasn't usually looking around. I was like, man, I don't know these people's names, but I recognize them. They look just like a bunch of other Iowa people. There's just that Iowa, I don't know, body type, appearance, the way they walk, handle themselves. Like these people are not changing. They're not having a huge influx of people happening from outside places, bringing in different cultures, things like that. I was like, this Iowa culture is pretty set. All right, three, two, one. Hello, welcome to the Pretty Huge Limit podcast. This episode, we're going to go through my trip back to the Midwest, how it went, what events happened, what changed in Iowa, what hasn't changed, and what might never change, and generally how the trip went, how the driving went, the people I saw, things like that, sporting events, and we'll dive into all of it. Hey, maybe that's a good intro. I don't know if it'll work. It forces me to make an outline for the rest of the show. And the funny thing is if I make the outline of, oh, we're going to discuss this, and this, and then never get to it. That's kind of funny. You'll just have to tune into the next episode where I probably won't get into it and I'll just forget about it. I'll just take this yellow sheet, put it with my pile of other yellow notes I got over here, and just never get to it again. Just long lost notes that I have written down. For those who watched last week's episode with Tommy, you probably realized I was on the road. So I took a trip to Iowa/Illinois, just a little bit into Illinois, not too far into it, because I try not to go too far into Illinois. Usually not the best idea to go and do that. But went there, drove there from Texas. Took me about 12 and a half, 13 hours to do the drive. Was just by myself, which, man, just me in the open road, driving through Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, over to Illinois. Wasn't too bad. Not too much rain happening. And by myself, especially leaving from home, I was able to overpack, so able to put as many clothes as I needed into my car, so able to pack as much food as I needed for the drive. But that made it so I only had to drive where I only had to stop for gas. Wouldn't have to wait in a drive-through, get food there. So that made it much easier. Stopping 3 times. My car is pretty fuel efficient, so that's the exciting stuff you're hearing about this podcast. When I got there, nothing too crazy going on. Went to a hockey game. The hockey game, it was pretty high scoring. Not by the Quad City Storm. It was more high scoring by the Fayetteville Marksmen, which turned out they're two of the worst teams in the league. What league are they in? The EHCL, ECHL? I think, oh, yeah, because I think it's Hockey League. I don't know what the EC stands for. They're two of the worst. It ended up being 6-4. Number of fights happening. Pretty sick. But it's hard to tell who won those fights. Because for some of the fights, the hockey players would start punching each other. It would look like they got some good hits in, but if they were in the helmet, not that effective of a punch. But if it got them in the face, okay, you're getting some points there. But then the Storm player ended up falling on the ground. Like, is it really a win if is it a hockey win if you're the one who ends up on the ice? If you're ending up all laying on your back, the other guy on top of you, yeah, you got a couple good punches in, but your back is on the ice for some reason. So I don't really know if that's a win. That hockey game, they had so many things for sale, so much memorabilia, trying to sell crazy things. There was a raffle for a gun. That was pretty cool to see. We passed the first 30 seconds past the censorship phase of this. There was a gun. Their restrictions were it had to be over the age of 21, had to be able to get a gun license. That's not a bad deal. I don't know what the retail price was for said gun. I didn't get any raffles for that. The only thing I took part in was the Huckapuck. Chuckapuck? I don't know which one is it. Chuckapuck or Huckapuck? Probably Chuckapuck. That's probably what it is for it. For that, they're like, oh, buy 6 pucks to throw for $5. All right, nice. They're like, give me 4 bags of these. Was it 4 bags? Yeah, 4 bags. So I got 24 pucks. I'm like, all right, here you go. Write your name on all the pucks. Are you kidding me? No, I don't want to do this. Put numbers on them or something. I tried to offer them an extra donation. I said, how much would I have to donate for you to write my name on all these pucks? It doesn't even have to be my name. It could be a short name, it could be an abbreviation. Just write anything on there for me because I don't want to write out my name. Like, oh no, you can write them yourself. Here's a pen, get to writing. I did not enjoy doing that. I just went with the last name on it for because if there were multiple people with my last name at that game, I probably might have let the other person have the win for it because it's not worth writing that many extra letters. 5 extra letters, 24 pucks, or 5 times 24 is, which is 70 extra characters. Then I would have to space it out, add the space in there. That's like 100 extra characters I would have to take into account, plus the tab, plus the new line character. It's not worth writing all those extra characters on there. So I did that. And when they had the Chuckapucks went out there, I didn't know there was a time limit. I did go a couple different techniques. The forehand, the backhand, the flick of the wrist. That one was probably the worst. Having a doctorate in fluid dynamics, I probably should have known doing that way was just terrible, and it didn't go anywhere for it. But at the end of it, they had a timer for it. I almost ran out of time. I almost didn't get all my pucks out there in time. But afterwards, my shoulder was definitely in pain at the end of it. They're selling a bunch of memorabilia for it. Storm lost 6-4, so it was high scoring. That was nice, but not high scoring enough for Storm to win it, which was a little sad to see. So many things for sale. But Iowa, man, things are not changing there. There's not too much expansion going on. There aren't too many new developments from the places that I drove through. Not too much crazy expansion. Big cities. It'd be nice to get bigger teams there. Oh, what I was going to say about the hockey for it is something I kind of miss about being in Iowa is the community enjoyment of a small town team. We're in Fort Worth area. Yeah, we have bigger teams. We have each of the big sports, the Stars, the Mavericks, the Rangers, the Cowboys. All right, those are cool to see, but there's no like community, like there might be some of it, like small community involvement, getting younger kids out there involved in it, getting them playing on the field, their rink or court in between quarters or halves, and going to a game costs, I think, as much as it would cost to get a suite for an entire year at a smaller affiliate of one of the teams, of a minor league hockey team or a minor league baseball team. Like, there's not that. It's hard to get the spontaneity of, oh, we don't have anything to do. Let me get these tickets for $15, for $20, where they're pretty decent tickets, and going there's not that difficult to do, not a difficult thing to get to. Parking is like $5, rather than if you went to the American Airlines Arena, parking on its own is like $40. So that's not as fun to go to. And yeah, there are some smaller teams in the area, minor league teams, but in the end, it's okay. You have these big teams, and those are the overarching things for it. Maybe you have to, in the minor league teams, are more like on the outer edge of the DFW Metroplex. So they're harder to get to. But when you're in Iowa, in the small towns in Illinois, it's okay, here's the team, here's what we're going to cheer for. I keep saying oh at the beginning of things, but for some of these teams, it's, that real estate agent who sold us our house, well, they're sponsoring this team. They have a sign on the outfield wall, things like that. So it's cool. It's cool to see that. I like seeing that, the different hockey teams, the minor league baseball teams, and yeah, it's just a good, enjoyable time to go to. Just hang out, not too stressful. You can definitely hold a conversation for it because games, I guess they matter somewhat, but they're not intense playoff implications, millions on the line. It's kind of, yeah, some of these players might go pro at some point, or they're just doing this to hang out, buy time, and do this for a little bit. So I do miss that part about Iowa. For it, we'll see. I don't know if I'll be going back at any point because the weather, man, I saw snow again. I was hoping the snow would be over. Was hoping the 1 week snow I saw in Texas was enough. That was going to be the end of it. But I saw snow again. I'm not built for that, built for the cold weathers. I think they're getting snow again this week. It's not for me, can't handle it. 70 degrees out here today. I had to go and mow my yard. It's early March. What am I doing mowing my yard? But I got a couple, which grass, I think I got multiple different kinds of grass in my yard. I don't know how to handle it. So I just mowed the entire thing. Some leaves that probably needed to get swept up. There were some weeds. There were some massive weeds. I didn't know how they got that big. Probably need to spray some chemies on there, some fertilizers or something to make them not grow. But after I went through with the mower, I went around with the edger and a hand shovel. What's that? Whatever that's called, whatever that gardening tool is. And I had to dig some of these things out. And I probably should have put them in a bag, but I just left them in the yard, threw them out there, and said, "Hey, you other weeds who are thinking about growing or who are smaller right now, look what happened when you get too big. You get dug up, thrown out in the sun, and it's going to wither, die, and not grow anymore. So don't come into my yard." My neighbors' yards, I don't know what their plans are. I don't know how they keep their yards in the spring and summer. If they're going to throw a bunch of stuff out there, how often they're going out cutting their grass, but not in my yard. Maybe other ones, but not this one. We got to figure out what we're going to do on the outside. Maybe we'll grow some stuff, grow some strawberries. Maybe I heard those were not too difficult to grow. Might grow some of that. I don't think we'll get too many tomatoes because I went to a farmer's market. It did not look like the farmers I know. It's more of a craft fair with a couple booths of food. Yeah, it was a bunch of knitted stuff. It had knitted stuff, a bunch of different kinds of salsa, which I was like, why are salsas so difficult to get? Or why are people selling so many of them? A lot of people selling that. There were only a couple places selling like raw meat and eggs. Eggs were $8 a dozen. I didn't know. I guess quail eggs were big to get. Those were $14 a dozen. No way am I getting those. I got a dozen eggs for like $1.80 at the store. I'm not paying $8 for a dozen. Oh, these have less chemicals. They're free range. No, I'm not paying $8 for a dozen of eggs. That's crazy. Prices on their meats, dude. I forget what was the chicken, like a chicken breast. At the store, I know it's like $2.50 here. I forget what they were selling. I think it was closer to. It was probably double digits, I would guess. For it, man, supporting local keeps staying difficult. And I think I had that complaint a couple weeks ago. But this farmers market was supposedly like their spring opening. Hopefully, farther down the line, they have more like vegetables. So the vegetables I saw were broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus. Then the only fruit they had was strawberries. So maybe down the line they'll have more citrus, maybe more onions, pepper. Which, yeah, salsa people want you to sell some of the peppers that you're using. Maybe that would be something more than just salsa, stuff like that. Iowa, yeah, things are not changing too much there. Not much happening. Like the fashion's not changing, the people aren't changing. Everywhere I look, like I was going to a grocery store and places I wasn't usually looking around. I was like, man, I don't know these people's names, but I recognize them. They look just like a bunch of other Iowa people. There's just that Iowa, I don't know, body type, appearance, the way they walk, handle themselves. Like these people are not changing. They're not having a huge influx of people happening from outside places, bringing in different cultures and things like that. I was like, this Iowa culture is pretty set in what they wear, what they eat, what they eat. You're not going to find a salad place anywhere to be found. The closest thing you'll get to a salad is like a Chipotle or a Pancheros, where they like you can get rice bowls there. That's the closest you're getting. You're not getting a just salad, a kava, a salata, salads to go. Those places, not happening. Might get Noodles and Company, which had Noodles and Company gift card. I think it was at least 6 years old, if I had to guess. $25. So I ended up getting a Noodles and Company bowl that cost $25. I had like extra chicken, well, 2 times extra chicken, shrimp. I got sauteed shrimp, which probably not a good idea. What am I doing getting shrimp in the middle of Iowa? Where is that shrimp coming from? It's definitely not fresh. I don't know where it's coming from. The Mississippi? Is that where they're getting the shrimp from that they're putting in my Japanese pan noodles bowl? I don't know. That could be the case. But I had to use the whole $25. I'm not going back at any point, so I gotta use all of it. I ended up using all of it, which that was the first time I'd ever been to Noodles. Man, that slaps. I thought Noodles and Company was just a mac and cheese place. Man, they got all sorts of different kinds of noodles. And with maybe because I did spend $25 on it, which on my own, if I had to pay with my own debit card, a $25 thing, I would be upset about it. But because of the gift card, it was worth it. So 6 years ago, whoever got me that gift, thank you. I don't particularly remember, but I finally used it, and I thought it might expire, might not have a balance on it. They might say, "Oh, we transitioned to a new system. Can't use this card anymore." Thankfully, that wasn't the case. In Iowa, that's probably the closest you're getting to a salad place. You're not getting a kava. You're not getting any of those other places. Not happening for it. You'll get some tater tot salad. Is it called? No. Is it called tater tot salad? No way. Tater tot casserole. That's what it is. Not a salad. Close, which they'll call the weirdest things. Pretzel salad, where it's just like Jello pretzels. That's not a salad at all. Snickers salad. It's so messed up. What they call salads there. Salads, I think, is just defined by what you put at the beginning of the potluck. Anything you put in there, that's considered a salad. Because, yeah, they just have the different sets of the potluck. So you got silverware plates, you got your salads. So anything that goes in there. And you got your beans, which you got to have multiple kinds of baked beans at a potluck for whatever reason. Yeah, multiple people need baked beans. I don't know if they make them themselves or if they just open up the bush baked beans and put those in there. And your main entree dishes, something in slow cookers, nothing that's been cooked day of, has to be going overnight. And then your desserts. That's pretty much the setup for the potluck. I don't know how that came about, but telling things that are salads that are not really salads. Driving up there, obviously listen to a couple podcasts, couple sports, couple comedy ones. Uh, wasn't too bad to do. Then I caught up on a couple health podcasts that I just got a folder full of health podcasts that I tell myself I'm going to listen to at one point and need time to get to it. So I listened to one on the drive up, one on the drive down. Drive up, the one I listened to was a guy talking about blood and longevity and blood markers, blood age, things like that. It was kind of interesting to look at where he talked about filtering types of blood and taking things out of it, which I've seen things on YouTube about people going overseas for it. And he talked about the research of it, talked about using platelet-rich plasma, where they take some of the person's blood, take it out, whatever, get platelets out of it somehow, then put it back into them. They're finding stuff like that. And they said I don't need to start banking my blood because evidently they can get donors or something. I don't know how that works because if you're gonna get a donor, that's gonna consent to it. You can get someone who's 18, but to get a donor who's younger than that, I don't know how you get that. Is it talking to the parents, asking them to donate their kids' blood to older people to make them younger? Which I'm sure they're not just taking the blood, putting it right into them. They're probably taking whatever proteins and stuff out of it, putting it back into them. I don't know. It was kind of interesting. I thought, I don't know, this is kind of cool. Maybe older people I know are using this kind of technique of using platelet-rich plasma and just getting that spun up for it. Then the other one I listened to was the one by Andrew Huberman interviewed Dorian Yates. The first part of that was kind of interesting. The end part of it, they got into weed, psychedelics, things like that. But the first part of it, where they talked about his training, that was pretty cool. Gave me a new perspective, ideas on how to do my training, of not doing as many sets of things, but doing them more to failure, seeing how that works for it, and trying to do 6 weeks of intense hard lifting and take a couple weeks off of it. I've never really done that intentionally. I've done where some weeks are harder, some weeks are off, but never like measured out like in a specific number of weeks. It's kind of been, oh, I worked out for these weeks. Oh, I'm going on this trip. Maybe I won't work out as hard. I'm going to try to do it more intentional. I'm going to boot up chat and get something loaded in there for my workout schedule for it. Kind of like mash a bunch of things together and build them and see how that ends up working out. But I don't know. Guy won the bodybuilding Mr. Olympia a couple times, so maybe it's useful. And I'll try it out. If I get injured, won't be surprised why that happened for it. But when I was driving, yeah, I was listening to podcasts, but there were a couple times I drive through rain, which when that happens, you can't listen to podcasts. You need to focus more on the road and things like that. So I had switched to listening to music during those times of it instead of the podcast because when it's pouring down rain, I can't be listening to this guy talking about blood or exercising. I gotta have some sort of music on where I don't know, and I don't want to have it off either. I want to have something, or else it would just be me in the open road thinking, man, this is raining too hard. Maybe I should pull over. And I also don't like putting my windshield wipers to the fastest speed because that also gives me some sort of anxiety, which that's kind of weird to say. Saying windshield wiper speed gives me anxiety, but it's more makes me, I don't know, somewhat anxious of, oh man, it is raining really fast. These windshield wipers are going so fast. It's almost, if I have them going slower, I feel calmer as a result of it because it's thinking the windshield wipers are going at this gradual pace and I can still see somewhat. Rain's not coming down that hard. But once they start going the fastest speed, I think this is really bad. I shouldn't even be driving. What am I doing? I should have just flown. Would have been a lot less time. Would have been a little more expensive, but I wouldn't have to drive through this weather and someone else would be responsible for all of this. But it was all right. I made it through. Nothing too difficult. It was, like I said, only 12 hours. So that did take a lot of a day going up, day coming back. Like it was $100 for gas. That was definitely less than a ticket to get to Iowa. Because smaller airports, yeah, it takes more money to get there. All right, what's going on now? No, it's just a beautiful day outside. Which here this week later, I'm sure that's great news for you to hear. What else? Another thing I did while I was there, I went to a trivia thing, which I might need to look into more trivia events that are going on here that bars and restaurants have, because they're, I don't know, it was gave me something to do. We found a place to do trivia at. It turned out to be Name That Tune trivia, which I might be worse at Name That Tune trivia than just regular trivia, because I couldn't guess any of these people. That's not too surprising because when someone says, name your favorite artist, name your favorite song, your mind immediately goes blank. That's kind of what I felt listening to the songs. The other part that made it difficult is they said, this 90s music trivia. That makes it kind of difficult. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of 90s songs. Some of the country songs, okay, I'll recognize them. Some of the pop punk, not pop punk songs, the punk rock songs, not really into that. The hip hop songs, don't know too many of them. The only way I would know them is if the rapper became a actor or actress as a result of it. Because there was one song that was by Queen Latifah. I only knew it was her because I was just naming a female hip hop artist in the 90s. If I had to name another one, I would be a little limited by it, but I was able to get Queen Latifah because I know her from her acting. That's how I thought of some of the other ones. Because for the other hip hop songs, I just thought, all right, what other hip hop artists became actors? Will Smith, is that an option for one of these songs? But yeah, might be worse at Name That Tune trivia than regular trivia. And it was tough going up there each time, handing in the ballot with the answers, thinking half of these are blank, the other quarter of them, not 100% sure. It was, yeah, difficult to find out for it. What else? Anything else in particular going in Iowa? No, just a lot of driving around, seeing people. It's nice having my car. I don't know when I'll go back. We'll see what happens for that. Think, I don't know, not really planned out. Maybe sometime in the summer, maybe see a minor league baseball game. Those are always fun to go to. Oh, and I went back to, oh, as you can see, I went back to Whitey's. I spit on my mic for it there, which they're in their middle of their shake madness thing, which I think they have something like it every year. Last year, I don't know if they had the ice cream flavor madness, but you just go in and vote, which I don't know. There aren't too many shakes that distinguish themselves from each other because there's only like, I don't know, a handful to choose from that could possibly win. Probably the Oreo one's probably going to win. I think the Butterfinger one's up there. And now I'm thinking back, did I talk about this last year? My expertise. Oh, my computer wants to install something. I should probably turn off the sound on that. The Oreo probably going to win. Butterfinger probably going to be up there. Cookie dough also probably going to be up there. But the other regular flavors like chocolate's not going to win. Strawberry, no. Cherry, no. Lemon. Who gets a lemon shake? People don't. It's gross. They don't get a lemon shake. Lime shake? No. People don't get those either. Why Whitey's offers those? I'm not 100% sure. Well, they probably have lemon and lime for other things like the sodas, which those also only like old people get those. Whereas sodas where you put the flavoring, the soda water, the half and half, and ice cream. No, those are also pretty bad. I don't think I ever got one of those. Those are gross. But they have flavorings for that. Coffee. If people are getting coffee, they're getting the Cup of Joe espresso, the Mississippi Mud. They're not getting. Maybe they'll get the coffee flavoring, the basic root beer flavor. Yeah, it's fine, but getting the ice cream flavor of it, not too much happening for it. So I don't think any of those basic things are gonna go. It'll be something with candy in it, which yeah, Oreo one's probably the most popular one to get there. They didn't add any of the options of like getting any of their ice cream flavors in their shakes, which some of those are pretty popular, like mint chip shakes. That would probably be up there near the winner for it. That's pretty popular for people to get. And this is just my expertise as a Whitey's enthusiast. Maybe they'll sponsor this pod next. I don't know what it would take. Whenever I see their Instagram stuff, I usually try to like it. Which they did have a very rare BOGO sale, which I am not seen before that they had at Whitey's. They had a BOGO sale just on their, which, yeah, sponsor this. I'm promoting literally your ice cream flavor. Their salted butter cookie dough, that was very good when I taste tested that. I ended up getting just a scoop of Cup of Joe, because I'm more mature now and my ice cream flavors like, let me get this little bit of coffee. Which if I told my high school self that, hey, you're going to grow up and you're going to like this coffee flavored Cup of Joe ice cream, I would have said, no chance is that happening. I don't do coffee flavored ice cream. The Mississippi Mud, also don't do that, even though it barely even tastes like coffee. No, not doing that. I ended up getting it. I was like, man, for people who like coffee, this does hit pretty good. But the salted butter cookie dough, for some reason I want to say salted caramel cookie dough, because that would also hit the spot for it. They're doing like buy one scoop, get a second scoop free, or buy two scoops, get 4 scoops total. Like, man, this is some deal. I ended up not getting that. That would have been too much after eating my noodles and company. Like, I can't be that indulgent today. Can't be doing that. Anything else? Not Hug a Puck, Chuck a Puck. The hockey was just selling a bunch of random memorabilia, which was just super overpriced. Like the places in the mall, never get memorabilia from that. It's just way overpriced. And that's kind of what they were doing at this hockey game. And this podcast is going all over the place. You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in. They're just way too much. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have any memorabilia from the gold medal game already. I didn't know if it was too soon, if the Kachuk brothers were still busy signing a bunch of things and they didn't have anything available to sell yet. That would be my only guess of why they didn't have any of that. But the basketball hoops, those were a hit. Kids, babies, they're not grown up yet, but they're a hit. And even if it's not for the kid, the parents, they can play with them and be just as enjoyable. While the kid's laying on the ground doing nothing, yeah, just put a couple shots up, just practice for when the kid does get older. Like, yeah, I've been 1,000 shots a day. 10,000 hours of you laying on your stomach, of me just draining these threes right in your eyes. You can't even defend this. You can't even put a hand up. Just like Steph Curry says. What do you say? Not hand down, man down. Pretty much just chucking the threes right in the kids' faces. So definitely glad those hit. So maybe my Godfather place is going back up. We'll see. Let's see here. Bad trivia. Iowa, nothing changing. Young blood. Yeah, I'll need to get some filtered blood for it. We'll see what goes for that. Now, I haven't done it yet, but what I think I might do. No, I probably won't do it. I thought about putting a poll up. We'll see. I'm getting all, I don't know, not full of myself, but confident. It was like, because the last poll I put up, it got 1 vote. So I was like, man, things are going crazy here on these votes. We got, I don't know, should I make my own March Madness bracket of podcast guests, Ashley versus Tommy, and see who comes out ahead in that? That'd be pretty funny. Maybe I'll put that up. Would it be today? I don't know. Maybe I'll put it up next week. And Tommy and I did play basketball against each other. We tried to go play pickleball, but for some reason they don't have the pickleball nets up. I guess because it's still a possibility of snowing. They didn't have their pickleball nets up or the nets on a tennis court. Because I'm pretty sure one of them was just a tennis court that we were going to play pickleball on without even the line set up for it. But we went and played basketball. I got those recorded. Man, just recording a bunch of random things makes it so much more intense. Yelling out to the camera, even though it's not going to be posted for, I don't know how long. It might be a couple months till those get posted for it. But we'll see how those go, what kind of music to play in the background. And then I'm going to have to rewatch the entire thing myself and keep the stats on it. But I don't know. I'm going to have to add some non-traditional stats in there besides like field goal percentage, rebounds, because I don't know, it won't be any assists. Maybe I'll add a stat of air balls. Surprisingly, there were a number of air balls thrown up during that game, so I might have to add that in. Yeah, I'm going to have to go through and just do stat keeping. Kind of, yeah, we'll see. I don't know when those will get put up. Those might get put up after I do the championship game for the PhD TV for it, because like I said, that's going to take a little bit of editing on my part to do. I don't know, maybe I'll get some sort of effects in there, really make it go crazy. But we only have one camera angle on tripod, and tripod not the most sturdy thing when it's a little windy, a little top heavy, because yeah, it's just a tripod. You put it high enough in the air, it just gets unstable and blows over. Thankfully my phone didn't break and crack. I thought that might happen. It just tipped over on my phone screen and just shattered. That would have been devastating. Then I would have had to get a new phone and write that off of my taxes. We'll see for it. But I think that's all that I got going on for my Iowa trip. It's fun going back. See when I go back again. Maybe it's a little warmer, but yeah, definitely going to some minor league baseball games. Just fun, relaxing times. Nothing too serious. The in-game announcer stays busy. Always something going on. Always going up and down the stadium miles, trying to get people to find the ball under the hat, try to name trivia questions that no one really knows the answers to. We'll see. But thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, reach out, DM, new ideas, how to grow the podcast, grow the review series, games for PhD TV. Because I'm about to play one here and hopefully win for it, because I need to win. Because that one chip challenge, hot chip challenge, will not go well. I know it. Have something a little bit spicy with a little too much hot sauce. Things do not go well here. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And Ashley probably also doesn't want to eat any eggs, even though they're very nutritious and I'm decent at making eggs. Decent means I cook them fully. The flavor of them kind of just tastes like eggs. But thanks for tuning in. Talk to you guys later. Bye.